take those callers now.
Okay. I was
Bryson,
trying to hear
from your
Councilwoman
check-in with them, can you
Thomas.
name the callers that you are aware of in the chat, in the people box?
I was being procedures, Chairwoman. I was telling Councilman Carlisle he cannot take clothes off on the camera.
Why she sound like that?
That's not sounding very good.
Sound like Star Wars.
She does.
Our phone is.
Nobody acknowledged my sweet haircut after like a 5-month hiatus. I finally look like an adult again, kind of.
Let anybody care.
I want
Big boy haircut.
It's 10 pounds heavier.
It's 3:30. Let's get started. Staff, you in place?
We are ready, Chairwoman Robinson, when you are.
Okay, thank you. Good evening. The September 15th, 2020 council meeting is called back into session. I need a motion. Councilman Covett.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I move we adjourn the meeting, the September 15th meeting. Second.
Thank you, Mr. Canale. It has been moved by Vice Chairman Covett and seconded by Councilman Canale. Do you have any unfinished business on the September 15th agenda? Seeing none, the council meeting held September 15th is hereby adjourned without objection. Sergeant at Arms, will you please call our October 6, 2020 council meeting to order?
Oh yes. This honorable council of the city of Memphis is hereby called to order for the transaction of business pursuant to adjournment.
Thank you. I'd like to recognize our chaplain for today. It's Reverend Dr. Edward Parker Jr. from none other than District 3 and 4. Now 6, 3 and 6. We want to welcome the senior pastor at Berean Missionary Baptist Church. He was invited by Councilman Jones. Thank you, Councilman Jones. He will provide the prayer for this evening. Dr. Parker, will you please lead us in prayer?
Thank you, Councilwoman Chairman. Let us bow. Our Father and Creator, Sustainer of the universe, we approach your throne with humility, thanksgiving, and praise. O God, for thou art worthy to be praised. We thank you for the blessing of this day to move and function in a mental and physical health. As we come today, we invite you to manifest your presence in the midst of the agenda today. God, we thank you that we are privileged to live in a democracy that is free, where we have a governance of the people, by the people, and for the people. Now let us carry out the duties of a free society, dealing with infrastructure, education, homelessness, many varied needs of our city. We ask now an acceptance of every person here and in their faith. And according to me, O Lord, in the name of Jesus, I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Dr. Parker. I recognize Councilman Jones.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair Robinson. Dr. Parker, thank you for bestowing your blessings upon the meeting of this Memphis City Council. Let me find the proclamation here. But I don't have it readily accessible. I just got back in the office. I ran out for a hot second, but normally during this particular time, Dr. Parker, we present you. I'm sure this is not your first time at the rodeo, so you have some City of Memphis cufflinks already, but we just wanted to thank you for opening up this council meeting today with the blessings that you bestowed upon us. And so on behalf of the citizens of Memphis, thank you for your service for this entire community. And thank you for opening up this prayer tonight. And hopefully I'll see you tonight at Pratt meeting.
Thank you, man, brother.
Thank you.
Amen. Have a good one.
And you all go and be safe, please. Councilman Warren, will you please?
Virtually, that is. That's virtually virtual Pratt meeting. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Warren, will you please recite the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Madam Comptroller, please call the roll.
Councilmember Canali,
Here.
Carlisle,
Present.
Vice Chairman Colvett,
Here.
Easter Thomas, Ford,
Present.
Johnson,
Present.
Jones,
Here.
Logan, Morgan,
Here.
Smiley,
I'm here.
Swearingen,
Present.
Warren,
Present.
Chairwoman Robinson.
Present.
Chairwoman Robinson, you have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Comptroller.
You're welcome.
Who has read the minutes of the previous meeting? Vice Chairman Colvett.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Colleagues, I've reviewed our meeting minutes for September 15th, 2020, find them to be in order and move their adoption.
Second.
Thank you, Councilman Canali. It has been moved by Vice Chairman Colvett and seconded by Councilman Canali. Madam Comptroller, will you please call the roll for our minutes?
Councilmember Canali,
Yes.
Carlisle,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Colvett,
Yes.
Easter Thomas,
Yes.
Ford,
All right.
Johnson,
Yes.
Jones,
Aye.
Logan, Morgan, Morgan,
Yes.
thank you. Smiley,
Yes.
Swearingen,
Aye.
Warren,
Aye.
Chairwoman Robinson.
Aye. Thank you, Madam Comptroller. This item passes. Welcome to the October 6, 2020 regular meeting of the Memphis City Council, which is being conducted electronically pursuant to notice due to the COVID-19 emergency. Without objection, the notice of the meeting will be included in the minutes of this meeting. A notice of meeting was placed on the City Council webpage regarding how the public may electronically access the meeting and or recording of the meeting, and how to provide written comments concerning any agenda item or any other matter prior to this meeting. Public comments were to be submitted to the Memphis City Council 24 hours prior to today's meeting. Vice Chairman Colvett will read those documents at the appropriate time. He will only read those comments that included the requisite information, which was the person's name and address. Incomplete comments of those received late will be sent to the council records and placed in the file. The following items are being held for 2 weeks until October 20th. Items number 5, 6, and 30. Item number 2 has been withdrawn. Are there any other items to be held or dropped? Seeing none, let's move to our public hearing of planning, and zoning. Vice Chairman Frank Covett.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairman. This is item 1. Is Valerie on the call?
Yes, I'm sorry. Valerie, you please call this item number 1.
Item number one is a resolution appealing a planned development located at the southwest corner of Quince Road and Linfield Road, containing 4.20 acres, currently governed by Quince Linfield Plan Development, PD 99-362. This resolution is sponsored by the Office of Planning and Development. It was held from September 15th. The case number is PD 99-362.
All right, thank you very much, Val. Madam Comptroller, Bryson, do we have Jeffrey Land and Cindy Reeves on the call?
Yes, sir, we do. But before we go any further, is it possible to identify just a handful of callers that do not have a name associated with them? Caller 1, if you've called in and have not identified yourself, please do so now. If you've called on any phone device and have not identified yourself, please do so now. Otherwise, we will have to dismiss you.
So this is Preston Thomas. I don't know which caller I am, but the one
Thank
talking
you.
now.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Is there anyone else out there who has called in to get to identify yourself?
Bryson, you've got me, Cindy Reeves, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you asking for only callers on this matter or callers on every matter?
Every matter, sir.
This is Hunter Humphreys, Glankler Brown Law Firm, and I will be representing the Airport Authority on consent agenda items 14 and 15.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to identify themselves?
Deborah Massey, City Real Estate.
Thank you. I see 2 more callers.
Tim McCaskill.
Thank you, Mr. McCaskill.
Tom Mergen with Stanley Consultants.
Thank you. You're fine. Okay. Thank you, Councilman Covett. Let's proceed, please. I think that's it for now.
All right, thank you. Just a reminder, everybody. Everybody gets 2 minutes to speak to the council. I obviously recommend they save time for potential rebuttal. This, of course, applies to all cases. There will be no time sharing, and we don't have to worry about that. Once we get that done in all these cases, I'll read any and all letters to the council. Of course, we'll have council discussion, debate, and voting. In this item 1, PD 99-362, we have a host, and I believe they were emailed to colleagues, friendly amendments that were offered by the neighbors and accepted by the applicant, Mr. Preston. Short answer, colleagues, the biggest push on this was going from 3 stories down to 2. The ingress and egress, I think Councilman Carlisle mentioned, we've got that cleaned up. And amongst other things, the developer, when they begin any clearing operations, will immediately install the landscaping on the south frontage. South frontage will have no entry or exit to the grounds. I want to thank everybody for their hard work, the dozens and dozens of calls and multiple meetings. I spoke to former Commissioner Harvey. He is well aware and comfortable with all of these changes and friendly amendments. And most importantly, I think we've set a great template for future development in the Balmoral area. That being said, I'll recognize Mr. Land. If you wish to speak at this point, are you on the call still?
Yes, Councilman. I'm here with
Mr. Land,
Genevieve.
your name and address, and you have 2 minutes.
Land, Genevieve Land, 2262 Lovett Drive, Memphis, Tennessee, 38119. Just want to express, our gratitude for your assistance in this issue. And, I think the neighborhood is in a position that it will maintain its neighborhood look and feel with a quality development. And we, hope that's what the future holds. And Jenny has anything? That's everything from Balmoral.
Outstanding. Thank you very much. Ms. Reeves, may I have your name, home address, and you got 2 minutes.
Cindy Reeves, SR Consulting, 5909 Shelby Oaks Drive, Suite 200. I just want to thank the Balmoral Neighborhood Association and especially the Lands for negotiating with us. And I think that we do have a much better plan development and conditions that will protect the neighborhood. And it was a pleasure working with everybody and getting to know the neighborhood. And we appreciate everything that everybody's done, especially you, Mr. Colvett.
Thank you. Colleagues, some folks are great at budget. Some folks are great at MLGW questions. I like planning and zoning. So if you have something in your district, I would love to assist you. That being said, I'm gonna go ahead and make the motion and then we'll go into I do have letters. And as I pull them up.
Point of information, Chair.
Please.
Is it necessary to read any letters that have already been entered into the record via the public documents?
Well, okay, then I'll read them in later, but the simple answer is the gentleman was saying he did not want 3 stories. And as I shared earlier, it's 2 stories and that's binding. So we're good to go on it. That being said, I'm going to go ahead and move it. May I go ahead and get a second?
Councilman Colvett, will you please read those items into the, just like we would do in a regular meeting in person, please. This is the proper time to read it. And I don't, since we're doing this and it's electronic, I want to make sure that we handle this properly. So will you just please just read them into the record?
Thank you, Chair Lady. You're clarifying that you wish me to read all the changes into the record?
The letters.
Okay.
Comments.
All right. Hold one. Let's see. Public comments, planning and zoning. Mr. Ed Lyon of 2418 McKinnon Drive, 38119 says, I've lived in Balmoral for over 32 years. I'm totally against a 3-story building at Quince and Linfield. And Ed Lyon then also wrote us again, same address, sending this again in opposition to a 3-story building. Consider what I said below. It would be acceptable, probably won't do any good since money talks. That's Mr. Lyon's thoughts on this question. That being the letters to the council, colleagues, as the committee did receive, we carefully sent it with no recommendation, but I'm going to go ahead and move it to the floor. Is there a second?
Jones seconds.
All right, been properly seconded by me, seconded by Jones. I see no members in the queue. Wave your hands if you wish to be recognized. Councilman Jones?
Yeah, if you could, I know that this has been before us a number of times. And so I think it would be beneficial to me to know some of the changes that have been agreed upon based upon what was originally presented to council.
Yes, I can help on that. A coffee shop, there is no bar or restaurant allowed in the building. That's the neighbors asked, the developer agreed. Coffee shop will only be open during business hours and may include a drive-through. A walking path may be provided to surround the entire site and may include park benches and associated landscape features. The building will be an industry recognized Class A design. The building height shall not exceed 2 stories. Construction traffic may only use the Quince Road entrance. The Quince Road entrance will be a maximum of 1 right in and left out curb cut on Linfield. No curb cut shall be permitted on Vassar, which is that street on the south. Parking shall be industry occupied driven, and the Vassar Drive parking across the residential lot shall be installed last and only if needed. Upon the clearing of the land, this is a big one. Upon the clearing of land, the developer or owner will install at his expense a privacy landscape screen along Vassar. The privacy landscape screen shall include arborvitae, evergreen, holly, boxwood, or landscaping of equivalent nature, complying with the landscape screen as defined above. A final plat shall be recorded to reflect the proposed planting to be installed. In other words, he's going to plant this plant material even before he starts a building. And right now he doesn't have a tenant, so he's not going to start. So he clears it, he landscapes it. Landscape maintenance shall be in accordance. Dead and diseased plantings must be removed. Replacement plantings must meet the requirements of the approved landscape plan. The final plan shall be a photometrics plan, which, as a reminder, that proves and guarantees that the lighting from the parking lot will not spill over into the neighbors. Refuse containers shall not be placed adjacent to Vassar. Signs shall be a maximum of 35 square feet, which I believe is the already OPD requirement. The height of the building is, again, 2 stories. Final plan shall be filed within 5 years of approval. The Land Use Control Board may grant an extension. And then photometric. One other thing. The city actually owns a portion of the natural planting at the southwest corner of Linfield and Quince. That area is obviously going to be left natural to, again, continue to enhance natural landscaping. But those, in a nutshell, are the agreements.
Thank you.
All right. Going back to the queue or waving of hands. Anybody else got any questions, comments? Madam Chairman, it was moved by Colvette, seconded by Warren, I think. Seconded
It was John.
You have the ball.
Okay, thank you. I have several people on the line who their mics are hot, so if you would please turn your mics on mute. Please, I'm looking. Yes.
In this moment, while they're not muted yet, we've had a few more callers to join before we mute everyone and we get their names.
Okay.
If you just called into the call, we had 3 people to join the call since the beginning of the meeting. If you could let us know who you are. Your mics are not muted so that we can identify you. If you use the telephone to dial in through the dial-in option, we're referring to you because your name's not listed. Because otherwise we'll have to dismiss you from the call. Okay. Is that someone trying to answer?
Yes, hello.
Okay, yes, please give us your name.
Hello,
Did you say your name, ma'am? Shanika what? Oh, it's Shanika. I'm sorry. That's Shanika. Thank you, Shanika. Is there someone else?
Shanika Tate. Thank you.
Okay, there's 2 more callers.
Forest Arts at Memphis International Airport.
No, we have you, sir. There's 2 people that, you just called in the past 5 minutes. If you could just identify yourself. Okay. Thank you, Chairwoman. We'll dismiss those callers.
Okay. Thank you. Madam Comptroller, on item number 1, it was moved by Councilman Colvette, seconded by Jones. Will you please, I don't see anybody else in the queue. Will you please conduct a roll call vote?
Councilmember Canali,
Yes.
Carlisle,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Colvette,
Yes.
Easter Thomas, Ford,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Jones,
Aye.
Logan, Morgan,
Yes.
Smiley,
Yes.
Swearingen,
Aye.
Warren,
Aye.
Chairwoman Robinson.
Aye. That motion passes. Thank you. And let me just make sure that you know what we're doing. Items number 5, 6, and 30 have been held until October 30th. And item number 2 has been withdrawn. Thank you. Madam Comptroller, will you please call item number 3?
Item number 3 is a resolution approving a planned development located at 8535 Winchester Road, containing plus or minus 14.259 acres in the Conservation Agriculture CA and Residential Urban -2 districts. This resolution is sponsored by the Office of Planning and Development. The case number is PD 20-10.
Vice Chairman Covette.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Bryson, is Cindy Reeves still on the call?
Yes, sir, she is.
All right, we have no opposition that I know of. Colleagues, this case was heard in committee. We carefully sent it down with no recommendation. Staff stands by if somebody would wish another presentation, but with that, I shall move it to the floor. Can I get a second?
Second.
Very good. It moved and properly seconded. Ms. Reeves, go ahead and give me your name and address. You got 2 minutes if you'd like to share anything additional.
Cindy Reeves, SR Consulting, 5909 Shelby Oaks Drive, Suite 200. I want to thank staff for all the help that they've given us on this. We're real excited about this project and look forward to seeing it come forward. It's a great addition to the Windike area and very good use of part of the Windike Golf Club property. We've worked very closely with the adjacent owners and are very excited.
Thank you very much, Ms. Reeves. As I shared, colleagues, there is no one in opposition. We have no letters to the council. I see no, Councilman Jones, are you in a queue on this item?
Yes, just a quick question. Is the golf course closing or is this just?
No, sir. The golf course is not closing. This is a part of the golf course that was not, it was just open space. It's between the Champion Hills office building and the clubhouse. Yeah. So it's a great use of vacant land.
Great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much, Councilman. I see no other members in the queue. If anybody wishes to be recognized, please wave your hands at me. Let me know. I assume you're ready to vote. It was moved by Colbert, seconded by Warren. Chair Lady, you have the ball.
Madam Comptroller, please conduct a roll call.
Councilmember Canali?
Yes.
Carlisle? Vice Chairman Colbert?
Yes.
Easter Thomas?
Yes.
Ford?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Jones?
Aye.
Logan? Morgan?
Yes.
Smiley?
Yes.
Swearingen?
Aye.
Warren?
Aye.
May I revisit the vote of Councilmember Carlisle?
Yes, I'm aye.
Thank you. Chairwoman Robinson?
Aye. Thank you. That motion passes. Madam Comptroller, will you please call item number 4?
Item number 4 is a resolution approving a special use permit located at 590 East Rains Road, containing 0.26 acre in the Commercial Mixed Use -1 district. This resolution is sponsored by the Office of Planning and Development. The case number is SUP 20-07.
Thank you. Vice Chairman Covette.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Bryce, is Mr. Bray and or Mr. Flowers on the call?
I know that Attorney Bray is most likely at the funeral now. I have not heard from Mr. Flowers, and I just called him directly.
You got to be present to win. And
hold on one second. He's calling me now, Vice Chairman. My apologies.
All right, load him in.
All right, Mr. Flowers, you are now piped into the regular Memphis City Council meeting. If you would you please give your name and address?
Jerome Flowers.
Address, please.
The address is 590 East Grange Road, 3109.
All right, thank you, Mr. Flowers. You have 2 minutes, and might I suggest you save some time for rebuttal because I think you're going to get some opposition. But why don't you introduce yourself, tell us about this case, bring us up to speed on it.
Okay, I'm Jerome Flowers. I'm the owner at 590 East Grange Road, and I was seeking to try to open up a dealership. I'm trying to create jobs, for people out there, which I've been doing since 1996. Creating jobs for people to, come in and work and everything that they need to do. Also, I'm the nephew of the David Porter, which is doing a lot in the city. Also, the late Bishop Elliott Porter, which has done a lot in the city also. My nephew, Bishop Brenda B. Porter, which is doing a lot. And this is where I got a lot of my, enthusiasm for trying to help people in my community and throughout the city of Tennessee. And also out of the state of Tennessee, I've been doing a lot. And I also have a product that I'm trying to get off the ground now. So I'm trying to get people to work. That's my main focus. It's not about me. It's about helping people. And that's all I really have to say today on this issue.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Flowers. Colleagues, no one registered as opposition. We have no letters to the council, so we move to council debate. Okay, I go ahead for the purposes of Councilman Ford, before you speak, this case was heard upstairs in committee. We carefully gave it no recommendation, and I'll move it to the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Warren. Councilman Ford, you're recognized.
All right, I'd like to hold this until our next meeting. I'd like to make a motion on that. I need to check it out. I'm having problems with people want to put vehicle sales. They tell you one thing, they do another. I need to really kind of check things out and bring it back to our next meeting, please.
I'll second that motion, Chairman.
Councilman Ford is moving to hold it. It's seconded by Councilman Carlisle. Madam Chairman, you have the ball.
Madam Comptroller, will you please call the roll on that motion to hold this item for 2 weeks?
Councilmember Canale?
Yes.
Carlisle?
Aye.
Vice Chairman Colbert?
Yes.
Easter Thomas?
Yes.
Ford?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Jones?
Aye.
Morgan?
Yes.
Smiley?
Aye.
Swearingen?
Aye.
Warren?
Aye.
Chairwoman Robinson?
Aye. That motion passes. Thank you. Madam Comptroller, will you please call the consent agenda items 7 through 9?
Item number 7 is up for second reading. Ordinance number 5763 is sponsored by the administration. Item number 8 is a resolution accepting Kirby Witten Business Center, Lot 24, Starbucks, and authorizing release of bond. Item number 9 is the resolution approving the final plat of Starbucks number 62734, contract number CR-5340. Chairwoman Robinson, that concludes our consent agenda.
Can I get a motion, please?
Move it.
Jones, second.
Okay. Was that Covett and Jones? Am I correct? Moved by Covett, seconded by Jones?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Members, are there any questions? I don't see any. Madam Comptroller, will you please call the roll on the consent agenda items.
Councilmember Canali,
Yes.
Carlisle,
Aye.
Vice Chairman Colbert,
Yes.
Easter Thomas, Ford,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Jones,
Aye.
Morgan,
Yes.
Smiley, Swearingen,
Aye.
Warren,
Aye.
Chairwoman Robinson.
Aye, that motion passes. Thank you. Madam Comptroller, will you please call the fiscal consent agenda with same night minutes being requested for items number 10 through 18?
Thank you. Item number 10 is a resolution to accept grant funds in the amount of $20,000 from Tennessee Highway Office through the Tennessee Department of Safety and Homeland Security. This resolution is sponsored by Police Services. Item number 11 is a resolution to accept grant funds in the amount of $300,000 from Tennessee Highway Safety Office through the Tennessee Department of Safety and Homeland Security. This resolution is sponsored by Police Services. Item number 12 is a resolution to accept grant funds in the amount of $100,000 from Tennessee Highway Safety Office through the Tennessee Department of Safety and Homeland Security. This resolution is also sponsored by Police Services. Item number 13 is a resolution to amend the FY 2021 operating budget by accepting and appropriating the expenditures and revenues for the Weatherization Assistance Program in the amount of $200,000 provided to the Weatherization Assistance Program from the Memphis Housing Authority as part of a buy-down agreement to financially contribute to the weatherization of the Montgomery Plaza multi-family project. This resolution is sponsored by MHA. Item number 14 is a resolution to accept the acquisition of property located at 0 Jackson Pit Road and further described as parcel ID number 094-400-00020, market value $27,000 for the use and benefit of the Memphis Shelby County Airport Authority. This resolution is sponsored by General Services Division. Item number 15 is a resolution to accept the acquisition of property located at 0 Jackson Pit Road and further described as parcel ID number 094-400-00021, market value $46,000 for the use and benefit of the Memphis Shelby County Airport Authority. This resolution is sponsored by General Services Division. Item number 16, resolution to accept and appropriate funds in the amount of $8,000 from SM Global to purchase tablets and accessories. This resolution is sponsored by Fire Services. Item number 17 is a resolution to receive and appropriate a CARES Act funding allocation from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development in the amount of $6,495,376 to the FY 2021 Housing and Community Development Federal Budget. This resolution is sponsored by HCD Division. And item number 18 is a resolution to accept donated funds in the amount of $20,696.14 from various donors. This resolution is sponsored by the Executive Division. Chairwoman Robinson, that concludes our fiscal consent agenda items.
Thank you.
Second.
Who said move it? I didn't hear you.
Kovac.
Covet? Second was Canale. All right, thank you. Do I have any members in the queue? I don't see any. Madam Comptroller, will you please conduct a roll call vote on the fiscal consent agenda?
Councilmember Canale?
Yes.
Carlisle?
Aye.
Vice Chairman Covet?
Yes.
Easter Thomas?
Yes.
Ford? Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Ford. Johnson?
Yes.
Jones?
Aye.
Morgan?
Yes.
Smiley? Swearingen?
Aye.
Warren?
Aye.
Chairwoman Robinson?
Aye, thank you. That item passes. Madam Comptroller, will you please call the MLGW fiscal consent agenda items?
Item number 19 is a resolution approving change number 1 to contract number 12122, audit assurance and advisory services with Banks Finley and White and Company in the funded amount not to exceed $200,000. Item number 20 is a resolution approving payment of an invoice from the American Public Power Association for the 2020 annual membership dues in the amount of $132,138.37. Item number 21 is a resolution awarding a purchase order to Lightspeed Technologies, Inc. for multi-protocol label switching network expansion equipment in the amount of $273,084. Item number 22 is a resolution approving change number 1 to contract number 12108 EDI data transfer with Energy Services Group, LLC, in the funded not to exceed amount of $79,149.85. Item number 23 is a resolution approving a purchase order to Infinity Supply, LLC for valve actuators in the amount of $79,539. Item number 24 is a resolution awarding contract number 12143, Nokia MPLS maintenance services to Lightspeed Technologies, Inc. in the funded amount of $472,555. Item number 25 is a resolution awarding contract number 12197, System Furniture to Staples Contract and Commercial, LLC, in the funded amount of $1,016,297. Item number 26 is a resolution approving change number 3 to contract number 11928, Mobile Document On-Site Shredding Services with Vital Records Control Incorporated in the funded amount of $23,953. Item number 27 is a resolution awarding a purchase order to Environmental Products Group via the Sourcewell Public Utility Contract number 122017 SSC for the purchase of a truck-mounted vacuum excavator in the amount of $440,412.12. And item number 28 is a resolution awarding contract number 12218 for power supply consultant to GDS Associates, Inc. in the funded not to exceed amount of $520,000 And that concludes our MLGW fiscal consent items. And let's note, Chairwoman Robinson, item number 28, there's a request for same night minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Council Chairman Robinson, I would like to withdraw number 28 from the fiscal consent of MLGW.
Need a second?
Second.
Johnson,
second.
Madam Chair, is that to divide the question?
Yeah, point of order, is that dividing the question?
Councilwoman Swearingen.
I'm leaving it in your court, Chair. I want to remove from the consent agenda. So whatever you deem necessary.
It is to divide the question.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
So be it.
Thank you. Councilman Morgan, will you please move items 19 through 27?
Yes, ma'am. I move the MLGW fiscal consent agenda minus item number 28 for approval.
Second.
Thank you.
Second, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Madam Comptroller, we have items number 19 through 27. It's been moved by Chairman Morgan, seconded by Councilman Warren. Will you please call the roll?
Councilmember Canali?
Yes.
Carlisle?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Colbert?
Yes.
Easter Thomas?
Yes.
Ford?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Jones?
Aye.
Morgan?
Yes.
Smiley? Swearingen?
Aye.
Warren?
Aye.
Chairwoman Robinson?
Aye. That motion passes. Thank you. Item number 28, I need a motion, please, for discussion.
Move it.
Second.
Okay.
Second.
That Canali and Carlisle. Got it. I have several members in the queue on this item, and I start with Councilwoman Johnson.
Okay, the first, thank you, Chair. I too would first put my request in to speak is to remove the item from the general consent. But again, from conversation we had earlier today and general information, I feel like we still do not have the best plan in regards to trying to find which sources could provide us the best information in regards to transmission and resources for energy. I'm also still a little concerned about the fact that as a council, we asked for a resolution that was not followed through on. And I think that still needs to be addressed in some manner. So I'm asking the colleague to vote no on this item. And that's the way I will be voting. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman, looks like, oh, the names have changed and moved. Hold on just a minute. Let me go find you again.
I think you got Swearingen, Warren, and Jones, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. Swearingen.
Thank you very kindly, Madam Chair. We discussed previously that the taxpayers will be compensating $1 million per day for every day that we don't make a decision. Where we're looking at ACES 14 days, if we can take it back to the board, MLGW board, that's $14 million versus 18 months for GDS, which is $540 million. It was very disappointing for GDS and MLGW to not bring us a presentation nor a copy of the contract. And I also would like to encourage my colleagues to vote no on this item. Thank you very much, kindly.
Thank you. Councilman Warren.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just sort of want to remind us how we got here. Back on May 19th, we passed a resolution asking the mayor to proceed and see if we could get an RFP for supplying power from ACES. I think at that point in time, the mayor met with ACES and with the MLG&W administration somewhere around on August 4th. And, proceeded. I do not believe that our request was ever brought to the board by the administration, MLG&W. And then on the 21st, RFP by MLG&W that was not only for procurement of power, but included power production as part of its major impetus, was placed on there along with transmissions. Now, I've been in touch with the CEO of Volunteer Electric, and they've done a couple recent RFPs. And in their RFPs, they merely asked for, what can you supply me electricity for? And how are you going to get it to me? It's up to them. They provide the transmission, they bring it in, and that's what they're looking at. And according to the people that I've talked to, the CEO, they've saved, after they've added in all of their costs for, additional transmission costs, et cetera, even including public, costs to try to help with the local communities, they're saving around 30% for where they are on TVA. The current GDS proposal primarily is designed to make MLG&W a mini TVA. If you look at it, it's primarily designed for production. We've got productivity that's here, and that's what they're looking at doing. I don't really think the citizens, nor do I think the council, nor do I think the MLG&W board really wants MLG&W to be a power producer. So for that reason, I urge my colleagues to please think about this, and let's get the MLG&W board to please ask for two things. What's it going to cost us? What can you supply us energy with? And how are you going to get it to us? We don't need to be responsible for getting the energy here if someone else can get it and tell us what it's going to cost us. I don't think MLG&W has ever built this type of transmission before. Why should they be responsible for bringing it to us? Let's get someone who does this on a regular basis and brings these things in instead of having MLG&W try to learn this from scratch. For that reason, I think it is wise to delay. And if we delay 2 weeks and get a better cost, and we have a 90 or 120-day turnaround, that will beat the 6 to 9 to 12 months to 18 months. It's what the original data I saw from MLG&W showed. So I urge my colleagues to vote this down, send it back to MLG&W for a proposal that includes what's it going to cost and how are you going to get it to us. Thank you.
Councilman Jones.
Thank you, Madam Chair and colleagues. This is a decision that we will make, and the last time this decision was made was 80 years ago. I think that our council colleague, Issa Thomas, is probably the youngest one on here. And considering the fact that this decision was made 80 years ago, most of us will not be here in 80 years. So for us to take all of the time that's needed to make such a momentous decision, for us to be talking about, I think that we need to have the most comprehensive plan and proposal before us, because this is something that we cannot take lightly. And for us to go with what may be the best or the cheapest proposal, if this is a professional service, there's some things that we look at, we don't bid out and we don't just go with the lowest cost because it is a professional service. Do you go with a doctor because that doctor is going to charge you the lowest rate? Especially when you're talking about specialists. This is a specialized undertaking that we're talking about here. To talk about, we should be agnostic as to who the provider is to bring back proposals to us. What we seem to be doing here, colleagues, is tipping the scale to basically picking who we want to bring back a proposal. That's not our role. We need to be independent arbiters of what the plan is, regardless of who the power provider is, regardless of who the consultant is on this. That should be our role. But for us to pick its aces over deuces, over GDS, over BDS, I think we're overstepping. We are tipping the scales based upon what we view as who our preferred vendor is for this. And I think that's inappropriate for us to make a decision that the last time we made such a decision was 80 years ago. To talk about, and I think that, do we want to put energy generation, do we want to be at the wheel of what could possibly be a for-profit provider versus, and I am not loyal to TVA. If it comes back, TVA is the best. If it comes back MISO, if it comes back Entergy, I do not care. But let's at least get a comprehensive proposal. We can say, if we come back with a comprehensive proposal, it includes X amount of renewables. It includes transmission. It includes generation. We are not bound to the proposal. We can cherry pick. But I think that we're doing our ratepayers a disservice to say that we only want a proposal that comes back with the cheapest rate of energy that doesn't talk about the reliability aspect. There's a term that we're all familiar with. It's called value. It's getting, you may have to pay more, but the price tag on reliability, you can't necessarily put a price tag on, but you still factor that into what is a value proposition. So before we tip the scales and say who we want to provide this, let's look at this. I know that, in the current, and I hate to use this analogy, we know that justice ain't blind, but for us to be as blind to this process as possible, I would encourage that whomever is the decider or what proposal that we bring back, we shouldn't care. If we're talking about, but if generation, if we realize if we can be a generator, whether that's solar, whether that's wind, whether that's water, and that's a better long-term 80-year proposal for our ratepayers, I don't think that we need to take those type of propositions off the table. But the path that we're going down here, colleagues, I would submit, is that we're saying that let's go with this vendor because they got the cheapest price, versus looking at a comprehensive proposal that we had community members to go through a whole IRP process to say this is a long-term, to use it in a automobile aspect. When you got your, we know that you're just taking your car in for oil change, but you hear the brakes squealing. You hear that, you got a leak in one of the windows. We're just basically taking our car in and say, just fix the brakes. And we know that these other issues are taking place. And I think it'll be totally irresponsible for us on a long-term basis when most of us won't even be here when this decision is made, but the implications are that long-lasting. I think that we need to be as comprehensive and as overarching as we can be in this process. But for us just to say, let's go with this vendor because they are the cheapest and they came to us, I think it's irresponsible for us. And I would encourage us to let the process just play out. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. Do I have our attorney online? Alan Wade, are you present?
Yes, I am.
Will you please share with us about the RFP process and where we are in that process, and can we change it at this point when this is a legal process? Can you give us some insight, please?
Well, first of all, our RFP process was developed and guided by MLG&W as an administrative process. We have no input in that process. I mean, and even from their point of view, once they had issued the RFP process, they would have to basically, they would probably have to reject all of the proposals and start over. But as far as our participation, the only thing we can do is to vote up their recommended contract or vote down their recommended contract. And then it's up to them to decide how they want to proceed from there. So, I guess I'm not answering your question directly, but it is not really our decision as to how they handle the RFP process once we vote, if we vote the contract proposal down.
Okay, thank you so much. Councilman Warren.
Yes, ma'am. Just wanted to comment on a few things that Councilman Jones said. MISO is not for profit. So getting getting contracts with MISO is not for profit. We've had, I think, an analogy that, you need an architect before you can build your house. So we got to do the IRB so we can have an architect and put it together. But the last time I looked, when you rented a house or you rented an apartment, you weren't involved in the construction. Someone else constructed it and you rented it and you moved in. So that's a lot of what we're looking at here is, do we want to be the ones who build this, or do we just want to rent it from people who do it all the time? So this is a very different thing. It's not like saying where we get this from, whether it's ACES or, CD, whatever. The wrong question was asked here, and we're being asked to fund the wrong question. So I think we should just go ahead and vote on this and send it back and ask them to please ask the right question so we can fund it. Thank you.
Madam Chair, if I can respond, please.
We have a couple other people, and I'll come right back to you, Councilman Jones, please. Councilman Carlisle.
Thank you, Madam Chair. All right. I know we've got a lot of people in the queue, and this is going to end up being a belabored conversation. So first things first is I'm just going to go over this. We've got a lot of talking points that continue to be spouted out. If somebody wants to make an accusation that this process and the integrity of it is in jeopardy because of fraudulent or misstated facts, they need to go ahead and come on out and say it. Or they need to call the FBI and file a complaint. Because we're talking about a multi-million-dollar decision of interstate commerce and energy. And if that's what's going on, then let's go ahead and get it out on the record. If not, then let's state the process and say that the process has integrity to it and that we're running it. We've spent a significant amount, MLGW and the ratepayers have spent a significant amount of money finding out what our energy needs are in a very transparent if we talk about the timing of the IRP process, I mean, every time that there was a component of it, we had a 60-day holding period because we wanted community input. And everybody under the sun got a chance to weigh in on that. We finally have what we believe are 4 or 5 options of how or what our power needs are. And we spent a significant amount of time doing that. And whether you like that part or not, we are now at a point of where do we go from here? And so I'll ask Mr. Young or the GDS associate one more time about a couple of the issues. To Mr. Young directly. Mr. Young, are you going to make a recommendation at any point to your board that it is advisable that we buy power or we receive power or buy power without any sort of generation in our footprint, whether we own it or not?
President Young.
Yes, thank you. JT Young, President CEO of MLGW. To answer your question, Councilman Carlisle, no. And the reason for that is because if you look at the MISO assessment, which is available on our website, their own assessment, actually indicates the vulnerabilities with such a solution. We did not take this lightly. This is a very significant decision. And the biggest responsibility that we have as an enterprise is to make sure that all of our customers receive power every day, all day, for the long term. So our decision making process is based on that. Okay. And so we wouldn't cut you off.
Yeah, and I appreciate it. I don't mean to cut. I just know we've got a lot of people in the queue. So for the record, the CEO of MLGW is not going to make a recommendation to his board that says we're going to buy power or that we are going to go to an alternative power supply where we do not have generation in its footprint. So that's just today's fact. So we seeking an RFP to that nature can only happen through the MLGW board, which I'm saying today is highly, highly, highly unlikely, if not an absolute fact, that they would go down that road. So now we're to a point where we're asking, yet to Dr. Warren's question, the board can direct him to do that. They absolutely can they can do anything. They could ask for that RFP, but we as the city council don't have that authority to force them to do that. We don't have the authority to tell Mr. Young to do that. And the mayor doesn't have the authority to do that. Only an action of the Board of Commissioners can force that action. And I'm just saying it's highly unlikely if the CEO is unlikely to recommend it to them. The second fact, and if GDS is on the line, and I believe I saw him earlier. Mr. Dawson, a lot of rhetoric has gone around that this is an 18-month process and that is wildly different from the 90 to call it 180 days of alternative proposals. Our conversation in committee today, you said that it would be roughly approximately about 120 days to get, give or take, let's say 30 to 45 days to send out proposals for transmission, thermal generation, and renewable energies and get responses back from those bidders. Is that an accurate statement?
That's an accurate statement, sir.
All right, so now twice on the record, we have the winner of an open bidding RFP process telling us that 18 months is not accurate. I want to address one more thing. This $150,000 talking point, ACES provided a $572,500 bid to MLGW through their RFP process. They then came back with an alternative consulting agreement that they sent directly to the Memphis City Council, as well as a separate email to the mayor of Memphis, the chief operating officer, and the CEO of MLGW. That in this body of the email said in 90 days, they could get us a power supply option for $150,000. If you read deeper into the agreement, there's another line item for transmission resolutions, which is what we're talking about, for another $136,000 or thereabouts. It then has an open-ended section about consulting hours. My point here is that it's misleading because we know we don't just need a power supply number. We need to follow the integrated resource plan that we've spent all this time putting together, which we've had confirmed, and I'll ask Mr. Dawson again. Mr. Dawson, in the thermal generation RFP portion of your process, you will be seeking options that include generation in our footprint that does not have to be owned or built by MLGW. Is that accurate?
That is accurate.
So again, on the record, it has now been confirmed that they are going to seek that option. We do not have to necessarily build our own generation. Would it be the same for renewables, sir?
That is correct.
All right, guys. So we've now dispelled all of the talking points that have continually come out. So now we're back to the fact that we've had an open RFP process. We have the Board of Commissioners of MLGW, along with their C-suite, have unanimously selected in a fair bid process GDS Associates. To trying to direct them to ACES without any other bidding doesn't really seem like it's above board. And so at this point, if your point is to delay and you're concerned about the $1 million a day we're losing, we just cost our taxpayers another $14 million bucks. And if we were to be short-sighted and we go down the process and shortchange it on the front end, and we have to go back 90 or 120 days and redo this again, we'll be 6-8 months behind. I strongly encourage us to continue moving the process along so that we can get the information to make an accurate decision. I also highly question why we've continually pursued ACES as the sole provider when we went through an open bid process, but I'll leave that for another day. Colleagues, point of order, I've got the floor. Colleagues, I highly encourage you to continue to move the process along and let the process be fair, open, and transparent. And if somebody is concerned that it's not fair, open, and transparent, they should speak on the record about it. With that, Madam Chair, I thank you for the time and I yield back.
Okay, thank you. Councilwoman Swearingen?
Yes, in light of it all, with ACES, we would be $14 million. And with GDS, we would be $540 million because they require 18 months versus taking it back to MLGW board and 14 days bringing it back to council and only requiring 3 months. Thank you very kindly, Chair.
Thank you. Councilman Morgan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I tape record Councilman General's comments and just play them again to just try to kind of hammer it through, let it sink in a little deeper. But I concur with just about everything they said. I'm going to try to simplify this a little bit, and that a no vote on this contract is a vote in favor of the status quo as we are now, which is remaining basically with TVA without any other bids for power supply from anywhere else. If we are to make a change from TVA, we have to have an RFP. To have an RFP, we have to approve an RFP contract. That's what we have in front of us. We will get numbers back late second quarter or third quarter next year real numbers that we can then contract on, that can be debated, and we can figure out what is in the best interest of the city of Memphis moving forward. But without those bids, without those numbers, there's no way to possibly move away from TVA whatsoever. Because there's no option. We won't even know. So I think this is a big decision, and I can understand that we have questions about the contract and we want to deliberate on it. That's perfectly fair. The MLGW board deliberated on this at great length. But if this gets voted down tonight, there's an MLGW board meeting at 8:30 tomorrow morning, and I think it is a false assumption that they will send another RFP contract back to this body for approval. It may not even be a likelihood. At this point, I don't know what would happen. It may be that they kind of raise their hands and give up on the city council. That would be at least some of the conversation. They had a lot of deliberation. They asked a lot of the same questions we did, including the question about non-conforming bids, which I think is a good and valid one, and that those are still eligible to be provided. If there's something outside the scope or didn't quite fit in the directives that were put into the RFP, they can still be submitted. This is open. This is basically how we go to market to find out the pricing. All those dollar estimates that Councilman Swearingen was talking about, we can actually get firmer, more set numbers and talk about in reality what we could potentially say to the citizens of Memphis. But we don't approve this contract, we don't get that. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Councilman Morgan. I just want to share with my council members, this is the most important decision that we'll make for the ratepayers of Memphis for years to come. I have asked, and I'm asking you over and over and over again, I am pleading with you to please spend some time with the staff at MLGW so that you can understand the complexity of what happens in the background. How do we get to these numbers, and why it's so important to have the thorough research so that we can make the best decisions based on the best information and the most accurate information. And it can't be done because it's so complex in the time frame that we have in our minds. I don't see anyone else in the queue.
I'm in the queue.
I've been hanging out in the queue for a while.
Okay, I'm sorry. Let me go back. Let me go down. Please forgive me. I'm dropping down past Morgan. Okay.
Madam Chair, if I may, I think you've got.
Yes, ma'am.
I think you've got. Well, you got Smiley, then Canali, and then you got people who've spoken before.
And Swearingen is back in the queue.
Okay, please just indicate it. And I'm gonna get the people who have not spoken, then I'll come back to those who have. Councilman Smiley, please forgive me.
Oh, no worries. I skip people all the time, so I understand. Thank you for the acknowledgement, Chair. So I'm trying to make this as simple as possible. This is an extremely important decision that we are making here today. I think this question is for you, President Young. And I'm pretty sure my brother, Councilman Carlisle, is probably going to chime in as well. So I'm just trying to figure out when GDS, let's say council agrees to allow GDS to go ahead and do what they do, in their process, I'm trying to figure out in the stages, at what point will they say, hey, we've reached out to various energy providers and here's the cost for energy? Is there a process? Is there a timeline for the energy portion of this study? Because I understand there's energy, then there's transmission, but I want to speak specifically to energy. Is there a timeline for, I guess, a report on energy? Or is that, or has to be completed in totality first? Go ahead.
No, the plan, and I'm going to actually call on GDS to clarify this. So the plan right now is for there to be concurrent bids that go out to the market for everything that we need, so that the bids will come in at about the same time. Then, of course, we'll have to evaluate all of them, and we don't know how many there will be. But the answer to your question is yes. And I guess, Chris, you may want to address that from GDS.
Yes, President Young, that's correct. Concurrent paths for the different RFPs that would then lead us to have proposals and firm pricings from real suppliers by late second quarter of next year.
Okay, so and what's your name again? I don't want to get your name wrong.
It's Chris Dawson.
Dawson. Okay, Mr. Dawson. Okay, so let me ask you this: Is it possible? You can tell me no, because I'm not an expert in energy whatsoever. I'm trying to figure it out as best I can. Is it possible to? I know you said that they're going to run concurrent. There are some folks out there, some entities out there that talks about the likelihood or the possibility of if we deal solely with energy, being able to find out whether there's cheaper alternatives for energy in a shorter window. Is that possible? We know that the study's running concurrent, just specifically for energy. Is it possible to say, hey, we I guess sit out the bids for energy, here's the results so far in a shorter frame than we do with the transmission storage, or do we have to have them coming back at the same time, which is like second quarter of next year? Hope my question makes sense.
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm actually glad you asked that, because the reality is this: yes, we could go out to folks, other entities, we could ask for just energy proposals. And here's the problem: folks would go, well, wait a minute, you can't get that delivered. You're a TVA wholesale customer with no transmission. How would we deliver it? Why should we even bother to give you a proposal when you could never even accept that power from us? So in order to make this an authentic, genuine process that even TVA would have to respect, you need that ability for those transmission facilities to be included in this overall arching process, where we've got 3 different RFPs to procure transmission as well as energy.
Okay. All right, I will. Okay, let me ask you this. So I'm pretty sure you've been in this business for quite some time. I'm trying to figure out, so the process that GDS has in place, it's your expert opinion that this is the only way to move forward if we want to do this in a manner that is, I guess, completely encompassing of everything that the city of Memphis may need going forward.
Yes, sir. And I say that I'm very fortunate with over 25 years of experience, and having looked at what Siemens did in the IRP, what MISO did in their study, where they declared you had to have transmission service in order to get anything. We agree with those assessments. And back in the day when I was a young man, GDS actually helped the first TVA wholesale customer leave TVA. And that was because they had transmission service to the outside world.
Okay, I will, I guess I'll retire and allow someone else to ask some questions. I may have one more a little later. I think some of my colleagues may ask my questions. Thank you so much, Mr. Dawson. Thank you, President Young.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Canale.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I agree with and was going to say a lot of what Councilman Jones said. Very well said, Councilman. It was very thoughtful comments, and I think everything that he said was very true, and something that we should all take into consideration. I'll be brief. During my life, I'll say this: I've made some quick purchases later to have buyer's remorse because I didn't take the time to research what I was buying. I just wanted it now. So we're talking about a decision this big, I think it's people's future, people's livelihood, and it's too big of a decision to have buyer's remorse later. Certainly, we want to save the taxpayer, the ratepayers money, but if the reliability isn't there and their power's going out once a month and they're losing their refrigerator once a month, then we haven't really done anything for them. So I just think we ought to take our time, make an educated decision, get all the reports and all the information that we can, because it's too big of a decision not to. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Council members, I'm going to redirect now. If you have any other questions or concerns, please get in the queue. I currently have Councilman Warren and Councilwoman Swearingen. Councilman Warren.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You know, I think I requested at the end of our last meeting that we have a joint City Council MLGNW board meeting so we could discuss these issues. And I would like to move that we request that meeting and hold a vote on this until after we've had the chance to meet with MLGNW, have people present to both boards the alternatives of, you know, what happens if, so we've heard from the chairman who says, there's no way we cannot do this without production. I think that MLGNW board needs to have that presentation of how other places do that and they're successful. And therefore I move that we table this until a joint meeting with the MLGNW board and our council. I need a second.
Point of information.
Yes, sir. Councilman Smiley.
If we table this for however long, is it possible for us to get a meeting next Tuesday? How quick could we get the meeting?
I agree, because if we table it, we lose money.
So how quick could we get the meeting? Only question.
I can't answer that question right now, staff.
Madam Chair,
I need first, before we consider that, I need a second.
Second it.
Discussion on the motion, Madam Chair. So on this motion, the reason I'm saying this is we need to get together and discuss this with the MLGNW board. You know, we have two competing thought processes here, and I don't care if ACES does the deal or GDS does the deal. I just think there needs to be an option. So as we're doing this, we can see how safe is it if we have someone else build our transmission lines? How safe is it if, you know, we get our solar and wind power from Oklahoma where they got a lot more sunshine than if we build it here where we have less sunshine? I mean, we need to have those sort of things brought to us to vote on, and we're not given that option. So this idea that if we don't do this now, we're somehow wasting, you know, $1 million a day. We've been wasting $1 million a day through the last 18 months. And I would rather do this right and have the right questions asked than to say we're going to strong arm this through and we're going to end up with gas production here, which is pretty much, you know, what Siemens does, you know. And I think the first GDS survey took us into Siemens with their IRP. So if other utility companies can do this without a major IRP and do it well with due diligence, my thinking is we need to get together with their board and listen to them, have them listen to us. And for that reason, I think it's wise to table this until after that board meeting, and then let's bring it back up and vote on it, unless their board decides they want to give us a different option to vote on. So for that reason, I would urge my colleagues to vote with me to table this at this time, as opposed to just vote it down. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Warren. President Young, I have a question. Okay, y'all gonna make me pay attention to this queue over here. I got it. Hold on. I got it. Hold on just a minute. Let me ask the president of MLGW, where is your board, and would they be available next Tuesday?
Well, first of all, our board has unanimously voted on the resolution that's in front of you now. So that would be, as best I can tell, our board's position for now. I don't have a way right now to speak to the likelihood of, them meeting and another, I can't speak for the board, but they have spoken in the resolution that's before you now.
Okay. One last question. Councilman Warren said that we're not able to see those details that he just asked for. Will that be in this process?
And I'm not, candid, I'm not really clear on those details because we did send them to the council information on the selection process that included information on the bidders. So I'm not quite sure. And yeah, I think you heard the representative Chris Dawson from GDS speak to the fact that they will be pursuing options with regards to generation solutions that are open. So there's not necessarily any restrictions. So I'm not quite sure I'm hearing any requests that it's not already going to be considered in this process. So I'm a little bit confused about that.
Okay. And before I get to you, Councilwoman Swearingen, I want to redirect a question to Councilman Warren. Councilman Warren, will you state exactly 1, 2, 3 the items that you believe the council needs to have as soon as possible so that we know that everybody is on the same page?
Number one, a proposal for what it will cost us for energy beginning the first day that the council approves the budget for it to see what energy will cost us. Number two, in that proposal, how are they going to bring it to us? Okay, how are they going to bring it to us? Okay, as far as whether we need to build all that other stuff, we don't know until we get those two proposals back. We get those proposals back and they look ridiculous, then maybe we need to do a transmission study. Then maybe we need to do a production study. But if we get proposals back that tell us we don't need to do that, then I don't think we need to waste the money on the other two things. And I think we should take that position and talk with the MLG&W board because, if your chairman and your CEO is telling you they're not going to consider it or bring it to you, how as a board member are you going to know it's there?
So President Young, it's clear that Dr. Warren wants to know what would the cost of energy be and how could that company get that energy here? And what you have stated in the past that MISO said they can't get it to us, but are there other companies who could?
So if I will remind the council that the process that the integrated resource plan process, that was the primary purpose of going through that process was to determine how to get it here, how to get power here from any source. So what we're sounding like, it sounds to me like there's a request to ask someone else to do what's already been done. That has been reviewed. And I might want to call on either Chris Dawson or Alonzo to kind of, validate that. But that's something that we've done that. That's not something that's, I don't think it's, but I'll let Chris do it.
I think we know that it comes across the river. I think there are 3 places that your study shows it comes across. So I'm not asking for that. I'm asking for the people providing power telling us how they're going to bring it across the river at those points. Our study shows them how to do it. We just need to ask them to do it, not us to do it.
Chris, can you respond to that? Can you respond to that, Chris?
Yes, President Young, just maybe as a helpful point of clarification, MISO is a market and a transmission.
Not a utility, right.
Right, operator, and so they don't actually sell power. However, to Councilman Warren's question, we are looking for folks that can reliably deliver that energy so we can ask for energy prices, but we can't get it here to us. And so folks can't deliver it to MLGW, and so they can't make a proposal. That's what makes it difficult.
So the way these other energy companies have done, when they've done those proposals that said, we want the cost and we want to know how you're going to get it to us, we can't ask other people to tell us how they're going to get us the energy.
Well,
as all these other companies are doing it, why can't we do it in Memphis when they got 120 miles of line they got to have come to them? We got 30 to 40.
So to be more blunt, the folks that sell the energy are typically not the ones that build the transmission, so they wouldn't actually know how to get it to you.
So the other companies are just getting pie in the sky RFPs and they're not real?
I'm honestly not sure who you're referring to, but yes, it again,
Volunteer Electric.
Sell the power.
Volunteer Electric. I spoke with the CEO today who said all we needed were the two questions I asked. And he said, there are plenty of companies out there. When you put that RFP out, there are people that tell you how they're going to get it to you.
In my 25 years of experience, TVA has never opened up their transmission system to allow anybody to deliver it. I doubt they're going to start today.
Well, we've been paying for it for 80 years, so I think that would have to be done with an amicus lawsuit coming from MLG&W. And even if it's not going to be on TVA, there are other energy companies that are close by that potentially could be in that bidding process if we ask that question. And that's why I think we need to have this board meeting so we can let the board members of MLG&W know that is an option. And I don't believe that they have adequately understood that's an option because we have their CEO says he's never going to present it to them. That's my point.
Thank you, Councilman Warren. President Young, did you have any follow-up comments before I go to Councilwoman Swearingen?
Yeah, and I don't know how else to say this, but in this business, there are certain ways to do things. There's physics associated with delivering electrons that you can't go around that. When we went through the IRP process, of course, we considered how we would have to get energy delivered to MLGW. That was baked into that process, which is what happens with utility evaluations. And so I'm still not really clear about the question around asking a power producer to decide. Now, it may be that some of the other entities to whom Councilman Warren is referring, maybe they already have existing transmission that can be utilized that doesn't belong to TVA. Maybe that's a situation, I don't know. We are not in that situation. And so we have no other option but to consider additional transmission to get that power to us from entities within the MISO market. So there's no other way to do this. So it's not like you can just create somebody can bring you a proposal that creates that. We've done this.
They'll have 5 years to build it. They'll have 5 years to build it. So it's not like you just create it overnight, right? So it's not like somehow if they say they're going to do this and it's not there, we have to say, well, they can't do it.
Right, and that's the process we went through in the IRP. So that's already essentially been determined. So I don't know. Again, I'm still a little foggy on that other part, but that's my response. I think we've already taken care of that. But
President Young, my observation and listening to my council members, they need to spend some more time so they can understand what happened during the PSAT process and the outcomes. And they really need to have a little more opportunity to understand what happens in the background and what other people say about what they're doing and our current situation. We don't have that when we're sitting at the phone with them. And let me call on Councilwoman Swearingen so that I would like to see all of us to attend someone's national night out this evening. It's by Zoom call, and I would like some council members to have the opportunity to do so the citizens will see us and see us engaged in the community. Councilwoman Swearingen.
Thank you very kindly. I actually have removed myself from the queue, but to add a light, and I'll make it quite brief, BEC did not have that capability, and in a time frame of 4 months, they only spent $60,000, and they had competitive prices that were totally below TVA. And also NGEMC process, they had 4 months, and they shared the same price as BEC. Volunteer Electric Corporation, $60,000, and they were below TVA as well. So I compliment you, Councilman Warren. Thank you very kindly.
Okay, and make sure when you get that information, compare the size of the cities and the complement of ratepayers, not taxpayers. Ask about ratepayers. And then I see Councilman Jones.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And one of the things I want to go back to our school board days, Councilman Warren and Councilwoman Robinson. One of the things that we always ask the question of, how large is your district? When we talk about volunteer electric, and they're talking about, for them to talk about a $60,000 proposal, they probably serve the size of Annisdale. I'm exaggerating. I don't know. But one of the things, in one of the questions, if you recall, colleagues, I asked, what is the largest municipality that MISO serves? I forget what it is, but I would contend that that particular city or municipality that they serve they probably have the customer base less than half of what Memphis is. So we would be the single largest customer within MISO. And so those are different dynamics that we have to take into account. And just because they do it, and Councilman Warren, I take you back to that discussion. If folks were coming to us and said that the largest school district that we served was Denton, Texas, we gave them a side eye. Because we said that chances are you don't have the capabilities to serve a district as large as Memphis was. Other places do it without production. Colleagues, do we want to be in the position of renters versus owners? And I still talk about scale. Renters versus owners, we still want to control the destiny and what the prices are that our ratepayers charge. If we rent, whether it's the transmission units, whether it's the whatever infrastructure that's associated with that, we are at the mercy of those organizations to charge whatever they want to our customers. That's why I would say we don't want to be at the mercy of somebody else and just let them build it. Because they can say, well, we had in another site, we had a catastrophic event, and now we got to raise the prices on everybody. So before we still go down that road, the path that we're on right now, colleagues, is that we can get a comprehensive plan. I think about a proposal that I give to my clients. I can say, you need life insurance, you need disability insurance, you need a 529 savings account, you need a Roth IRA. As long as I present it to them, they can pick and choose which ones that they want to select. And I would offer to us, we're in that same position. If we have a comprehensive plan that GDS, and like I said, I'm agnostic to who provides us that plan. If we have a comprehensive plan, we can pick and choose. We just want energy. We just want solar. We just want wind. But if we just go and ask for a bare bones proposal, I think that we are doing a disservice to our ratepayers just by doing that. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay. Thank you. Councilman Morgan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think we've had plenty of opportunity. I think we've had plenty of information, presentations, the PSAC committee, the IRP, that we can deliberate and make a decision on this now. A lot of information that we're missing that is being requested, quote unquote, is the information that we'd actually get back in proposals from an RFP like this. So let's go forward with the RFP. I think today, let's get the proposals back. And I have no idea how it would even be possible to pursue a lawsuit and an RFP at the same time, in which the results of the RFP would be dependent upon the lawsuit. If this council and MLGW wants to get involved with a lawsuit with TVA, I guess it's up to the majority will of each body, but it would be settled probably long after this body's gone, or the individuals here are. It would be a long, drawn-out legal process, I'm afraid. And at the end of it, I don't think the result will be certain that we would be able to carry, even if we were successful, that we'd be able to carry the entire load needed for MLGW that there wouldn't be a toll on it, and that we would have priority under any circumstance, including emergency circumstance that wouldn't contribute to a rolling blackout or something like that. And I'm not a fear monger. I'm trying not to be, but there are some very considerable risks when switching power providers. This is major infrastructure, and we got to be careful and do this smart. And I think there needs to be there needs to be certainty when we do make the switch, and trying to pursue a lawsuit and an RFP at the same time could be very problematic. So that's one of the reasons I like the RFP that we're doing now, is that it operates under the presumption that I guess we wouldn't be successful with a TVA lawsuit. Is that correct? Or that wouldn't be an avenue that's available to us?
That's correct.
And it cites the federal law in there.
Yeah, that is correct, because they have notified us in writing that we would be unable to wheel through their system. So yes, that's correct. Cheryl, I don't know if Cheryl wants to add to that at all, but that's my understanding.
Okay, so Cheryl, sorry.
No, that's okay. This is Cheryl Patterson, General Counsel at MLGW. The assumption that was made in the IRP process was consistent with the information that TVA provided to us. Should a decision be made to try to seek through legal action something from TVA, you are correct that is likely to be a lengthy either negotiation or litigation process. And so it is somewhat difficult to presume to presume that you would be successful in giving a notice when you're facing that litigation. So our approach, to be conservative, was to assume that we would not be able to wheel through TVA and would have to provide transmission service some other way.
Okay, thank you. And I don't think TVA wants this to us. They're going to want to protect the interests of their remaining customers, as would we if we had a municipality to spin out of MLGW. So I don't take that with any animosity on their part in terms of protecting what they have in the best interest of their remaining customers. Like I said, bottom line, if you want proposals, a variety of proposals that would have attached bids and numbers that we could potentially turn into contracts that could potentially one day save our ratepayers money, then we have to do an RFP. We have that RFP contract in front of us. We got that contract from a bid process where we had 11 people interested. We had 5 respond. We interviewed 3 finalists. When it comes to MLGW contracts, that's about as good as it gets. There are a lot of board discussions at MLGW where we are so disappointed about how few bids we get, where sometimes it's 1 or 2 or 3. To have 11 that were interested and 5 real responses that we're able to weigh and measure and interview against one another is a very successful, search for an RFP provider. And I think we came out with a good result, and we should vote in favor of this contract today. Madam Chair, I'll go ahead and call the question to close it after Councilman Smiley or whoever's the last person that's in the queue. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I see 2 people left in the, 3, and that's Councilman Carlisle, Smiley, and Warren will close us out.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I was going to call the question as well, but since it's been called and I have the opportunity, I'll just keep this brief. We've beaten this thing around and around. Council members, for the most part, sound like they've got their mind made up. We've tried to dispel the issues with timing, the issues with contract, why this is not simple. The idea that we need to have a joint meeting is not the end of the world, but the MLGW board has open meetings. If we needed to talk to them, we could have done it in the past. The reality is they've made a unanimous decision to move forward. They're asking us to give their consent because we were required by law to approve that agreement. And if we're concerned about timing, holding it doesn't make any sense. This is the process in which we've all agreed to follow. And if somebody is making an accusation, again, that the process has been tampered with, they need to go on the record and make that. Otherwise, there is no valid reason that has been presented today to vote against or to hold this contract. And if there are people out there feeding information and they want to come and state their case to the body, I'm more than happy to have them come before this body and state that case with their information. But I'll leave that for another time. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Councilman Smiley.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I guess I think we already asked this question once. President Young, if this body votes no on the request to use GDS, what happens?
Well, as a practical matter, we practically go nowhere for now, because what we've solicited in this bid process that we went through is actually what we need to get to a decision. So voting this down today puts us kind of where we are already. If we were to rebid this, I mean, I don't know a valid reason to rebid it because it was done appropriately and we had a successful bidder, but the scope of work is what we would require, is what we would need to have done. So I don't know, I can't answer that question definitively. For now, we would just have to wait and see what happens, because this is what we need to move forward.
And so is it possible that the board ultimately decides not? What happens if the board say, you know what, we've already bidded this thing out, we went through our process, this is who we chose, the council voted no, and the board, is it possible for the board to say after that, you know what, we're not going to do anything, we're comfortable where we are?
Anything's possible. We don't have anything prepared to take to our board. We were, as we said earlier, prepared on Friday to do the kickoff meetings with GDS to get this moving, pending approval tonight. So we have not really considered, if we didn't get this approved, what to tell our board. We would certainly have a conversation with them, and but I can't tell you with any definitive notion what would happen.
What would your recommendation be to the board if we vote no today?
Well, if we vote no, then it seems to me we're getting a signal that we don't want to move forward with a determination of competitive prices for us to be able to make a decision on whether or not to give notice. So I believe my conversation with them would be along the lines of that's the signal that we received.
And do you believe that there will be, let me see how to phrase this. Do you envision making a recommendation that we ever move forward and simply request I guess the energy study solely?
What I don't want to do, Councilman, is spin our wheels and waste time. I think I've made that point earlier, but we really have to do this the right way. And so I respect the fact that other entities are doing it differently. We are the largest LPC that TVA serves, and we are in a geographic location that is unique and distinct from many of the others. We went through an IRP process, an integrated resource plan process, recognizing that in order to get to this point today. And so we can't just recreate the wheel and do things differently. We have to follow what's technically feasible to get power to our customers. That's really what our goal is, because we got to live with that decision for the long term. So, I mean, it makes to me, and what I'm trying to say is, we can get bits and pieces, but we cannot make a decision on bits and pieces. We really we can't do that. You can give me a price today for power. I can't take that to our board to make any decision regarding notification to TVA with just that information.
Okay. Thank you, President Young. I appreciate the time.
Thank you.
Okay. Councilman Warren, and then we're going to vote on the move to table. Councilman Warren.
This was a move to table and bring this discussion back with a joint MLGNW board and Memphis City Council board to discuss this issue, whereas Councilman Carlisle requested alternative voices can be brought to the table and give other information that the board of MLGNW may not have been able to have any been able to hear, primarily because, as we've heard, it has been said we're not going to consider not doing production here. And I really think that the vast majority of that board does not want MLGNW to be a mini TVA. So I think that we should table this, have that board meeting, have other people present there, and then see if MLGNW board wants to adjust what they're asking GDS to do. If they want to do another RFP, great. But I think that, you know, there's no reason that we can't get a timetable that in 90 days can give that board enough information to know whether they need to go ahead with production and wait 6 to 9 months. Or I know that we saw 12 to 18 months on a time sheet that came from MLGNW. So, you know, the fact that they're not saying it now doesn't mean we haven't seen it. So let's go ahead and vote to table it. Let's meet with their board members. Let's hear what they have to say. Let them hear what we have to say. Let's bring people in from both sides of this argument so they can get that argument and then move forward. So I move we table it, and after the joint meeting, we bring it back and vote it up or down. Thank you.
Madam Chair, for clarification, I'm just curious, is the request that when we say bring it back, is this resolution that's before the council now?
Yes, sir. In whatever form that the MLGMW board decides to send it back to us.
Because the board has presented, has spoken with this resolution, so.
Yes, I understand, but they haven't had a meeting with us yet. They may assume they may want to amend it. So I think we should give them the option to do just that, to get something actually passed.
And just for the record, Madam Chair, I don't think there's anything that I've heard being requested that is not going to be done in this contract that's before you tonight.
Okay. Thank you, President Young. Council members, the motion before us is to move to table with a meeting to be scheduled with the MLGW Board of Commissioners. A vote yes means that you're voting to table. A vote no means that you are against tabling. Madam Comptroller, please call the roll.
Councilmember Canali?
No.
Carlisle?
No.
Vice Chairman Colbert?
No.
Easter Thomas?
No.
Ford?
No.
Johnson?
Say.
Johnson?
Yes.
Thank you. Jones?
No.
Morgan?
What did he
Smiley?
say?
Morgan said no.
Thank you.
Smiley? Barringen?
Aye.
Warren?
No.
Chairwoman Robinson?
No. The noes have it.
That's correct.
The motion to table has failed. Now we're back to the main motion. It was moved by Councilman Canali, seconded by Carlisle. Madam Comptroller, will you please call the roll?
Excuse me, Chairwoman Robinson, I didn't report the vote for Councilwoman Logan on this item. I did not hear her vote. Did she vote?
It was aye.
Thank you very much. Excuse me, Chairwoman, now you may proceed.
Thank you. The main motion on the table is item number 28. It was moved. Okay, thank you. It was moved by Councilman Canali, seconded by Councilman Carlisle. I have one member in the queue, and that's Councilman Jones.
Thank you, Madam Chair. A lot of reference has been made to voluntary electric. I just want to make it for public consumption and information that voluntary electric serves 17 counties. The largest one being Cumberland County, which encompasses Crossville. They have 32,000 customers. The second largest is Fentress County, which has 10,000. So although there's 17,000, they still pale in comparison. Geographically, they're much greater. But as far as the actual customers that they serve over 17 counties, that is not a basis for comparison, in my opinion. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. I see Councilman Carlisle in the queue, and then
Yes, Madam
Councilman
Chair.
Lowe. Yes.
I'd like to move the previous question. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Madam Comptroller, will you please call the roll on item number 28?
Councilmember Canali, excuse me.
Madam Chairwoman.
Councilwoman Logan, we're about to vote.
I was in the queue for a point of clarity on the vote, just to clarify the vote.
Okay, what is your point of clarity?
Yes is.
A yes is to approve the current resolution. A no is to vote against the current resolution. Item number 28.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Madam Comptroller.
Councilmember Canali,
Yes.
Carlisle,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Colbert, Vice Chairman Colbert, Easter Thomas.
No.
Is that no, Mr. Colbert? Easter Thomas,
Correct.
No.
Ford,
No.
Johnson,
No.
Jones,
Aye.
Logan,
No.
Morgan,
Yes.
Miley, Swearingen,
No.
Warren,
No.
Chairwoman Robinson.
Yes. That motion fails.
Madam Chair, point of privilege.
I don't have any left.
Yes, ma'am. Just a little one.
Councilman Warren.
Could I request that joint meeting with the council and the MLG&W board now, and see if possibly we could get that meeting to occur, and then perhaps reevaluate the thing we just voted down if we need to. Thank you.
The staff is working on that currently. Thank you. Madam Comptroller.
Chairman Roberts, I have a quick question.
Yes.
Is it
Councilwoman
possible?
Johnson.
Thank you, Chair. Is it possible with that meeting that we're trying to set up to have some type of legal presentation for us to find out what is the true feasibility of actually using TVA lines? Because if that's not resolved, I don't know where we're going to. I think that needs to be resolved first, because that's a major cost factor. So can we include that?
We certainly can. If any council members have any suggestions about the agenda, please put them in writing and share them with Juanez Kiplinger. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Madam Comptroller, Let's move on to our item number, any of our add-ons.
Madam Chair, is my vote recorded? I typed it in.
Madam Comptroller, did you see the?
For item number 28, I do not have a vote recorded for Mr. Smiley.
And
I did not hear his vote.
He typed in no.
Thank you very much.
Okay. So Madam Comptroller, let's move to our add-ons, please.
That would take us to item number 32, which is a resolution to allocate and appropriate $1,950,000 in City Council grant funds to nonprofit agencies for FY21. This resolution is sponsored by Councilman Jones.
Thank you. Can I get a motion, please?
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Budget Committee met, approve this item, and I so move. Colleagues, you will have before you various. You will have basically the items as they were presented in committee before you. So this first recommendation is going to be for those minus 9 recommendations. And then we'll take up those other items as they were approved in the committee.
Brooke, can you make sure that we see the item that we're voting on now?
I will pull them up. I thought he was referring to the email. Let me pull up each item. We're going to start with what was titled in the email, attachment A, part 1. Is that correct, Councilman Jones?
Yes.
Okay.
I think it's kind of small, but this goes through all of the allocations with the exception of the 9 that Councilwoman Jones carved out.
So, Madam Chair, this item was approved unanimously by the committee, and I so move.
Thank you. And that item was seconded by Councilman Warren. I don't see any members in the queue. Am I correct? Is that Carlisle, are you in the queue?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Sorry, I gotta collect my, anyway, council colleagues, I need to, per this morning with Uplift, without objection, I need to move to reallocate $10,000 from Uplift Westwood CDC to the Boys and Girls Club to ensure that I stay within the guidelines of the Memphis City Council Grant Program Resolution. It's listed in Part 4 of Attachment A.
Thank you, Councilman Carlisle. Brooke, make sure that you indicate that in the spreadsheet. Are there any other?
Councilman Jones is going to take them one by one. So we were on part 1. Part 4 will be the last one that we cover, if that's okay. Or Councilman Jones, you want to go out of order?
The curve.
Yes.
No,
Councilman Jones, would you like to move to 4?
I'm sorry?
Do you want to move to number 4 after number 1 for in accordance with Councilman Carlisle?
That's my fault, Chairman Jones. I didn't realize we were doing them in 1, 2, 3, and 4, so I could come back and reread it in.
Okay, if you would.
Okay, Councilwoman Rhonda Logan, you in the queue? No? Okay, I don't have anyone else in the queue. Chairman Jones, you want us to do one at a time? Is that
Yes, ma'am, please.
okay? Okay. Madam Comptroller, will you please item number 32-1?
Thank you. Are we prepared for a roll call?
Yes, yes.
Councilmember Canali,
Yes.
Carlisle,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Colvett,
Yes.
Easter Thomas,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Jones,
Aye.
Logan, Morgan, Smiley, Swearingen,
Yes.
Aye.
Yes.
Aye.
Councilmember Smiley, were you responding yes?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Thank you. Councilwoman Swearingen, I have you as yes. Warren,
Aye.
Chairwoman Robinson.
Aye. That motion passes. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Item number 32-2, Councilman Jones and Brooke, can you please pull that one up?
Thank you, Madam Chair. This item was approved before Budget Committee, and I so move. It's approved.
Okay. Need a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Warren. I don't see anyone in the queue. Councilman, this item was moved by Councilman Jones, seconded by Councilman Warren. Madam Comptroller, please call the roll.
Councilmember Canali,
Yes.
Carlisle,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Colvett,
Yes.
Easter Thomas,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Jones,
No.
Logan, Morgan, Smiley,
Yes.
Swearingen,
Aye.
Warren,
Aye.
Chairwoman Robinson.
Aye. That motion passes. Item number 31-3, Chairman Jones.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This item came before the Budget Committee, and it was approved, and I so move.
Second.
Thank you. I don't see anyone in the queue. Madam Comptroller, this item 31-3 was moved by Councilman Jones, seconded by Councilman Warren. Please call the roll.
Madam Chair, I was in the queue.
I'm sorry, Councilman Warren.
Yes, I just was wondering if the people who sponsored this could tell us why it needs to have 100% funding from the city. If the people who are funding this could speak up in favor of it and let us know.
Who are you talking about, Councilman Warren?
I guess the council members who donated to this particular group, they would know why they're donating to this group, and they're funded at $35,000, right? That's their total budget. Is that correct? We can see it back up again.
Well, Councilman Warren, if I may, Madam Chair.
Yes, give us some context.
Yeah, the item that we're on right now, item number 3, these are Councilman Ford's additional allocations. Now, if you had a question, so I guess the basis of my voting no on the previous items is that we were funding some of the organizations in part 2 at percentage higher. So on this item, I think that Councilman Ford
I misunderstood. Thank you.
I think you have to address those.
You need me?
Thank you. Did you need a response from Councilman Ford? It's okay.
Madam
Okay.
Chair, I just was confused.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Madam Comptroller, will you please call the roll on item 31-3? I mean, sorry, 32-3.
Councilmember Canali,
Yes.
Carlisle,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Covette,
Yes.
Easter Thomas,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Jones,
No.
Logan, Morgan, Smiley, Swearingen,
Aye.
Warren,
Aye.
Chairwoman Robinson.
Aye, that motion passes. And this is the last item in number 32, and it will be 32-4. And I think I misspoke. So if it's on the record, it should be 32-1, 32-2, 32-3, and now this is 32-4.
So noted, Chairwoman Robinson.
Thank you. Please call the roll.
For 32-4, Councilmember Canali,
Yes.
may I have a motion and a second before we continue?
Move it.
Sorry.
Second.
And it was moved by Carlisle, seconded by who? Thank you.
Seconded by whom?
Warren.
I thought it
Thank
was
you.
Warren. There you go. Okay.
For the roll call, Councilmember Canali,
Yes.
Carlisle,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Covette,
Yes.
Easter Thomas,
Yes.
Ford,
Give me.
Johnson,
Yes.
Jones,
Aye.
Logan, Morgan, Smiley,
Yes.
Swearingen,
Aye.
Warren,
Aye.
Chairwoman Robinson.
Aye, that motion passes. Thank you.
You're so welcome.
Madam Comptroller, will you please call item number 31?
Item number 31 is an ordinance creating the Walk Tourism Development Zone tourism surcharge and otherwise providing with respect to the foregoing. Up for third and final reading, ordinance number 5761 is sponsored by the administration.
Thank you. Who's the chair of that committee? I've lost my that page, my add-ons.
Ford Senior.
Ford. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman Ford.
I'm here.
Will you please move that item number, excuse me, 31?
31. Look, committee met recommend approval. I so move.
Second.
Thank you. And who was the second?
Warren.
Okay. Do I have anyone in the queue? I don't see anyone in the queue. Madam Comptroller, will you please call the roll on item number 31?
Councilmember Canali,
Yes.
Carlisle,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Covette,
Yes.
Easter Thomas,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Jones,
Aye.
Logan, Morgan, Smiley, thank you, Swearingen,
Aye.
Warren,
Aye.
Chairwoman Robinson.
Aye, that motion passes. Thank you. Same night minutes. We're down to same night minutes. Frank, do you have those?
What about 30?
30 what?
29.
We have 29, 33, 34, and 35, I thought.
Thank you. I told you I dropped my paper. Thank you. Item
Might I suggest
number
item
29, please. I appreciate my vice president picking up, vice chair. Item number 29, Madam Comptroller. Madam Comptroller, you there?
Yes, ma'am. Item number?
29.
Thank you. Item number 29 is appointments. Blight Authority of Memphis, Greg Glossom, Sean Massey, Jill Steinberg, Louisa Yang.
Councilman Carlisle.
Madam Chair, the committee recommends approval, and I so move.
Second.
Thank you. Covet seconded. I have a hot mic, so you might want to check your mics, please. I don't see anyone in the queue. Madam Comptroller, will you please call the roll on item number 29?
Moved by Carlisle, seconded by?
Covet.
Thank you. Councilmember Canali?
Yes.
Carlisle?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Covet?
Yes.
Easter Thomas?
Yes.
Ford?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Jones?
Aye.
Logan? Morgan? Smiley? Swearingen?
Aye.
Warren?
Aye.
Chairwoman Robinson.
Aye, that motion passes. Item number 30 is being held. We've done item 31. Am I missing any?
33 through 35, Madam Chairman.
Okay, Madam Comptroller, item number 33.
Number 33 is a resolution requesting that Memphis Light, Gas, and Water Division create a voter education program to provide voter registration information to residential account holders. This resolution is sponsored by Councilman Smiley.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Councilman Smiley. I'm sorry, it's Councilman Morgan and then Councilman Smiley. Councilman Morgan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Committee recommends approval, and I so move.
Second.
Thank you. Do I have any members in the queue? Looks like Councilwoman Johnson has a question. Okay.
I thought we had several co-sponsors on that. Would she mention now or would it be added later?
So, Councilwoman Johnson, I have a copy of the resolution, and you are listed as a co-sponsor, as well as Councilwoman Logan, Councilman Covet, Chairwoman Robinson, Councilwoman Swearingen, Councilman Ford Senior, Councilwoman Michael Easter Thomas, Councilman Jones, Councilman Carlisle, Councilman Canali, and Councilman Warren.
Thank you, appreciate that.
Thank you. Is that the only question that we have? Madam Comptroller, this item was moved by Councilman Morgan, seconded by Councilman Carlisle, and was sponsored by Councilman Smiley. Am I correct?
And various others.
And various others. Thank you. So will you please call the roll on item number 33?
Councilmember Canali,
Yes.
Carlisle,
Aye.
Colvette,
Yes.
Easter Thomas,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes. Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Jones,
Aye.
Logan, Morgan, Smiley,
Yes.
Farrington,
Aye.
Warren,
Aye.
Chairwoman Robinson.
Aye. That motion passes. Item number 35, please.
What about 34?
I'm sorry, 34, thank you.
Item number
Staff,
34.
Excuse me, will you please send me an updated list of the items that are left on our agenda this evening? Thank you, Juanez. Now move forward.
Item number
Thank
34 is a resolution urging Memphis Area Transit Authority to temporarily waive all transit fares on November 3rd, 2020. This resolution is sponsored by Councilwoman Easter Thomas, Councilman Carlisle, Councilman Ford, Councilwoman Johnson, Councilman Jones, Chairwoman Robinson, Councilman Smiley, Councilwoman Swearingen, and Councilman Warren. There's request for same night minutes.
Thank you. Need a motion?
Move it.
Motion.
Second.
Thank you. Do I have any questions?
I added myself as a co-sponsor, if that's okay, Madam Chair.
Okay, that's fine. Please add Councilman Canali. I don't see anyone else in the queue. Madam Comptroller, will you please call the roll on item number 34? It was moved by Councilman Carlisle, seconded by Councilman Warren.
Councilmember Canali,
Yes.
Carlisle,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Colbert,
Yes.
Easter Thomas,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Jones,
Aye.
Logan, Morgan, Smiley,
Yes.
Swearingen, Swearingen,
Aye.
Warren,
Aye.
Chairwoman Robinson.
Aye, that motion passes. Thank you.
I show one more item, Chairwoman Robinson, number 35.
Okay, please, Madam Comptroller, will you please read item number 35?
A resolution authorizing the Memphis and Shelby County Division of Planning and Development to proceed with the submittal of an application for rezoning certain properties along Summer Avenue between Holmes and Sevier Streets and between Berkeley and Stratford Roads. This resolution is sponsored by Councilman Carlisle and Councilman Warren. There's a request for same night minutes.
Thank you, Councilman Colbert.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. The committee met, recommends approval, and I so move.
Second, Carlisle.
Thank you. I don't see any members in the queue. Madam Comptroller, will you please call the roll? It was moved by Councilman Colbert, seconded by Councilman Carlisle.
Councilmember Canali,
Yes.
Carlisle,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Colbert,
Yes.
Easter Thomas,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Jones,
Aye.
Logan, Morgan, Smiley, Swearingen,
Aye.
Warren,
Aye.
Chairwoman Robinson.
Aye, that motion passes. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Madam Comptroller, are we finally down to same night minutes?
Yes.
Thank you. Vice Chairman Covet, do you have those?
Thank you, Chair Lady. Colleagues, I've reviewed items 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 32, 34, 35. Found them to be in order and move their adoption.
Thank you. Need a second?
Second, Swearingen.
Okay, thank you, Swearingen. I don't see anyone in the queue. Madam Comptroller, will you please call the roll?
Councilmember Canali,
Yes.
Carlisle, Vice Chairman Covet,
Yes.
Easter Thomas,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Jones,
Aye.
Logan, Morgan, Smiley, Swearingen,
Aye.
Warren,
Aye.
Chairwoman Robinson.
Aye, that motion passes. Thank you. Vice Chairman Covet, now it's time for public comment cards. Would you please read those at this time?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. We have 5 today. And our first one is from Joe Kent on Flamingo. He says, it is a disservice, y'all will like this, it is a disservice to taxpayers to not allow public comment articulated by members of the public. It is also a disservice to, without nuance or emotion, to plow through public comments when the city council reads them into the record. This public comment will not take long. So after each numbered point, please pause, look into the camera, and pretend you, the city council, give a rip. I just read this stuff. The elitists don't want Memphis to make any money. Per census data, the following can be concluded based on median household income data. 1, for counties outside of Shelby, but in Memphis, MSA, and collectively including Crittenden, Benton, Marshall, Tipton, Tunica, DeSoto, Tate, Fayette, and median household income is 40.6% greater than the city of Memphis. He tells me to then pause and look into the camera. 2, Black median income is 17.8% higher in those counties than Memphis. Pause and look into camera. 3, this former is alarming as excessive tax incentives roar for the benefit of the small few in Shelby County. The combination of excessive incentives and low median income is an elitist-led nightmare for Memphis taxpayers and quality of life. Our next one is from Pearl Walker, often writes to us, 5378 Loch Lomond. Dear Memphis community leaders, we, the undersigned concerned Memphians, are requesting that MLG&W issue a request for proposals, RFP, in order to determine how much money Memphians could save by switching to a cheaper and cleaner supply of energy. As we work together as a community under COVID-19 with the projected rise in extreme poverty that will further impact our energy burden, it is more important now than ever to choose a clean, affordable, and renewable option that provide positive opportunities for job creation and economic development as we move forward with our energy future. Memphis and Shelby County could save at least $120 million, with several studies suggesting higher amounts of savings if MLG&W purchased its power from a new supply. But the only way to know for sure that the savings would be is to get actual proposals from alternative power suppliers. An RFP will give concrete numbers for how much Memphians can save by moving to another power provider. Because energy affects so many areas of our lives, we believe energy equity is among the top human rights issues of the 21st century. Moreover, it is imperative that decision makers in this process, like you, are exposed to clear choices, multiple options, and firm data with the most up-to-date information available regarding our energy future. We judge that an RFP will help equip you with just that before you make this historic decision that will impact us, our children, and our children's children. Thank you for consideration, and we look forward to a positive decision that will help us move towards a cleaner, more affordable, and equitable energy future. Sincerely, Aaron Lewis, Memphis Coalition of Concerned Citizens, Angelo Earl, Anthony Fisher, Anya Parker, Community Organizer, Arna Gunn Denton, Bela Tankara, Bela's Bistro, Bobby Hawkins, Bob Wimbush, Wimbush Promotions, Brittany Thornton, Lead Organizer, Juice, Orange Mound, Kyle Vest, Sally, Carl Taylor, Carl Scott, Carolyn Goodman, Carter Bass, Catherine Lewis, Inward Journey Inc., Charles Casey, Casey's Custom Cuts, Cherise Scott, Sister Reach, Christopher Forrest, Producer of Broadcast Music Inc., Clifford Stockton, Community Leader, Director, Tennessee Inc., Clausel Williams, President Mid-South Kawanza Inc., Cynthia Wilkins Wortham, Dan Claiborne, Denitra James, Danya Ektenaw, Dejan Whitmore, Nail Swag, Deborah Taylor, Deborah Plunkett, Deke Pope, Doing Group, Delia Cohen, Enthroned Records ENT, Denise Anthony, Dominique Nelson, Dr. Brenda Hardy, MD, Dr. Daryl Butler, MD, Dr. Gail Walker, Dr. Shay Fanyon, Dr. Rosalind Nichols, Pastors Freedom Chapel Church, Eleonora Peters, Ever Jones, Sergeant Presley's GI Blues Fan Club, F. Johnson, Guido Lewis, Hababa Charlie Trammell, Harlan Shaw, Ivy Hall, Jacqueline Olson, Memphis Healers Collaborative, Janet Parker, Jet Lewis, host Java, Justice, and Jazz Talk Show, Julia Hudson, Karen Jackson, Carl Rivers, Kimberly Tony, PKWY Barbecue, Ken Taylor, Kirby Dukes, Lady Swift, Love Whitehaven Neighborhood Association, Larry Jackson, Larry O'Kelly, Lula Barnes, Treasurer Maxine Taylor, Polar Tropical Shaved Ice, Minty Butts, Smooth Living Restaurant, MD Cooper, Myron Mays, the What's Happening Network, Nene Brimley, Good Vibes Hair Studio, Nina Walker, Omara Baruti, Parent Resource Center for Walker, Organizer, Memphis Has the Power, Percy Jones, Steve Robinson, Quentin Fields, Randy Abduck, Memphis Dewa Association, Reginald Dyer, Reverend Clifford Stockton, Reverend Regina King, Andre Books, Richie Domino, Rick Middlebrook, Rico Rivers, Robert Bain, Joy Smith Gallery, Reuben Barnes, Mid-South Kwanzaa, Sa Mott, Sandra Upchurch, NAACP, Region 5, Sean Watkins, Sidney Thurman, Stanley Taylor, Motherland Gallery, Chiquita Hines, Tawana Murphy, Tracy Gales, Trina Clemens, Valencia Bayman, Verna Dyer, Wallace Red, The Love Power Show, Yvette Granger, Divine Natural Divinity, Yvette Juarez, Yvonne Nelson, President of Demands, Inc., and Zenobia McCoy. Tanya Purnell writes to us from 3470 Wood Millard Road, RFP, it equals less of a cost to all citizens if able to secure power and energy at a lesser rate, or they could cut the executive salary according, or give every citizen a chance to be able to afford the higher cost of energy from the TVA by mandating that all jobs created in the state of Tennessee must reflect a national wage average above the poverty foothold. I think the council and other forms of government is not doing a good job about wage equality in Memphis and governing laws that help citizens and not hinder the citizens with the right to work. That phrase right there is misleading. Help us. Thank you. Kayon Walker from 10205 Old Well Terrace in Cordova writes, as a resident of Tennessee, I must say over the years, the cost of gas and light combined just keeps increasing, and I'm all for any chance of renewable energy, cost-efficient energy for not just me and my fellow neighbors, but for my family members as well. I just want for everyone in general to be able to keep their lights on and to be able to afford it. Due to COVID-19, has made it very hard to keep up with all our bills, much less our light and gas bills. Something has to be done to help the people and also to keep the environment toxic free in our atmosphere. And I think this is the way we should move forward to tackle both issues. Thank you kindly for your attention to detail and have a blessed day. Full name, Dennis Lynch. Our friend Dennis Lynch from Sierra. Dear Memphis City Council members, on behalf of the Chickasaw Group of Sierra's Tennessee chapter, this email shares our views on MLG&W's power supply consultant selection and on the upcoming power supply RFP, which will seek, evaluate, and recommend future power providers. Item 28 is MLG&W's request to approve selection and contracting with GDS to manage and process the power supply RFP. We have found that there may be some pressure today to select an alternate consultant. We do not endorse any specific consultant. We do, however, request that our comments below receive your consideration. MLG&W has undertaken a careful and thorough approach to determining its energy future. Now is not the time to cut corners to save a few months. Appropriate time, effort, and detail are demanded by MLG&W's annual TVA budget of $1 billion, and also by the opportunity to save over $100 million a year while moving to cleaner renewable energy sources. 2, the power supply RFP will help collect valuable information, including real-world energy prices and implementation details from potential providers. Don't shortchange the value of this huge resource. Don't allow any imposed time constraint to force elimination of important steps or significant tasks required to meet Memphis and MLG&W's needs. 3, insist that the chosen consultant conducts an all sources RFP to seek proposals from a broad variety of vendors and technologies, including solar, wind, and energy storage technologies, as well as energy efficiency. The process will ensure that the pricing and other data received will not be biased towards expensive and polluting dirty fossil power, and will provide the clearest possible picture of how to meet energy needs of our customers. Remember that MLG&W's RFP concluded that maximizing the amount of local solar generation was a no-regrets decision. 4, make sure the power supply RFP allows for existing to be constructed power plants. 5, we urge MLG&W and Memphis to remain mindful of the risk generated by the climate crisis. Avoid investments in non-gas burning power plants, or we will be stuck with them and their pollution until at least 2055. 6, make sure the energy efficiency programs are given sufficient attention. Reducing the energy burden on Memphis's most vulnerable residents must be a high priority. We all deserve a clean energy future. Thank you for considering these comments. If you have any questions, please call me at 901-361-8029 or at dmlynch1@gmail.com. Madam Chairman, this concludes our letters to the council. I move to recess.
Second.
I need can't hear you, Chairman.
Thank you. The motion to recess has been moved by our Vice Chairman Kovacs, seconded by Councilman Warren. I know all minds are clear. We had a long meeting today. Thank you. This meeting is now adjourned. Thank you.
Amen.
Thank you for